All right, now we're recording. Now we can talk about it all, lads. Like, Kieran, how
Sorry,
you
we,
doing?
we we were getting ahead of ourselves.
We were. So, yeah, we got Kieran Gibbs on the show today. Samuel is here as well to ask you the first questions and to get the listeners up to speed or the viewers. We were lucky enough to meet you in Miami last year at the conference and primarily at the steak dinner with Safe, which was a great event.
Right.
And
Yeah, it was a great event.
and then even got to hang out a little bit at a barbecue at Sailor's Place, where we'll talk about that as well, because some funny shit went down there.
Good times.
But Samuel's going to lead off with the questions rather than Lauren because he's a footballer and he's interested in football and he's got some football related questions. Which I remember he was pinging a load of you at the dinner table. That was my favorite memory of the dinner. I was sat opposite you and Safe, and I was talking to your friend Jimmy, and we were just getting into like all kinds of rabbit holes and whatever else. And I look across to you two, and like you're high fiving and giggling, and like I'm like, "What are you doing?" And like, "Yeah, watching my goals on YouTube."
Which I never actually do, which is so funny. That's why I was probably having so much fun because I was taking a trip down memory lane.
And that's what, yeah. So, Samuel, what kind of questions do you want to fire at Kieran today?
All right, the first one. How many red cards did you get when you were playing in Arsenal?
I only got one. Well, actually, technically, it wasn't even one.
Technical.
Technically, why?
Because it got rescinded.
Aha. All right.
It got,
What
it got
year, mate? Do
rescinded.
you remember the year, the game? Like what
That would
went
have
down?
been that was 2014 against Chelsea, and I was mistakenly wronged for handball in the penalty area, and so the referee thought it was me, so tried to send me off. Then I obviously wasn't too happy about it, and then after speaking with both captains, um, they just suggested that I had to leave the pitch, so I went off, and then it wasn't until after they realised that it was the wrong person.
Okay. So I'm dying to know who it was.
The other player,
Yeah.
it was Chamberlain.
Okay. So it was a
Alex
clear handball.
Chamberlain.
It wasn't like that the handball was a handball and it was a penalty, or there was no dispute in that. It was just the wrong player.
No, yeah. It was definite handball. It was just the wrong player. Yeah.
So, like you said, you consulted the captains. Is there anything they can do on the pitch at that point to U-turn that red card?
Um, I mean, I guess not. This was before VAR, obviously. So it was just a total. Even though it was 10 years ago, it's crazy that it was only 10 years ago, and we didn't have VAR in
Mm-hmm.
2014, which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're talking about a completely different game then.
And so, like, you just
VAR changed the game so much. So
and what's the
you're talking about
paperwork? Did you have to put paperwork in just to appeal like the red card and like
no,
no?
no, because they obviously saw the replay after, and it was clear as day that it wasn't me. So it's just a freak moment.
Apology from the ref?
Yeah. Apology from the ref. Yeah, and then obviously I could play the next game because
Right. No suspension.
yeah, no suspension.
All right, cool. Samuel, what else you got?
Um, how does it feel to score a goal?
Scoring a goal. I'm trying to think of what I can compare it to. Um, in your world, imagine the feeling of you're in the middle of a bull market and the price is just pumping every few days, and you're looking at your phone almost in like disbelief, um, that you get that feeling of euphoria. It's probably like that times 100.
So it feels really good then.
Yeah, if that's the best way that I can describe it, that you will understand.
Well, how do you feel, Samuel, when you score a goal?
Really happy.
All right.
Really, really happy. I'm proud.
But then imagine like 50,000 people, sharing that moment with you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool feeling. Pretty cool feeling. I didn't score that many though, so.
Any own goals?
I think one. I'm trying to think for West Brom, but I think only one.
And that would be the opposite feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Highs and lows.
What other questions?
I'm thinking of others before.
Mhm.
What we want to do.
Yeah, no, go on, do that.
What?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, what was
You can see the level of preparation.
We'll take a take. We'll have to take here.
Oh wait, was it what was your favorite goal of the season, of any season?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite goal. I mean, it's different types of favorite, I guess. So favorite goal in terms of like quality of goal, or favorite goal in terms of like impact on a game, or yeah. So probably favorite goal in terms of quality would be against Swansea in the FA Cup. I'm not sure what year that was now, but that would be. And then favorite goal in terms of impact, obviously I'll have to go against Spurs.
Right. Okay. So we've got the Swansea goal up here. We're going to watch it. I'll do a screen share for those on YouTube. And then Samuel's going to critique it for you.
Okay.
1 sec. Let's get this share going. Here we go. Right, you see that?
Yep.
All right. Hang on.
Oh.
Bosh, mate. All right.
Bosh.
What I mean, technique, I got to give you a 10 out of 10 for that. That was incredible.
I'm not sure about celebration though.
So, but we were going to go through marks for different things. So, but I mean, first of all, who laid the pass off to you? I can't figure it out. And we're going back to, I think, to 2013, 14.
Yeah, it was around that time. That was Giroud, Olivier Giroud.
Really?
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a beautiful chip, I gotta say.
Yeah. He was amazing at kind of those one-touch layoffs as a hold-up player. And I feel like he got better and better at it over the years. I mean, look at him now. He's, even in the last 4 or 5 years, he became one of the top European strikers, highest goal scorer for France, right? We're still on screen share, by the way, guys.
All right, let me stop that. There you go. Right, you're back. Right, okay. So yeah, what do you think, Samuel? What do you think of the goal there?
It could be a little bit better.
Celebration could definitely have been better.
No, are you kidding? Was it?
You get in trouble for the crowd dives. You get in trouble with the crowd dives. Myself up. Good job I wasn't on a yellow card already.
I'm kidding. It was a 10 out of 10.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, excellent goal, mate. Right, so Samuel, if you got no further questions, then You want to say goodbye to Gibbo, or what do you want to do? Because we're going to talk about Bitcoin and all kinds of other stuff.
Before the Bitcoin stuff,
Yeah.
can you coach me at one point?
Can I coach you?
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime. I've actually got an academy now out in Miami, so you have to move to Miami and join my academy. I started it a couple of months ago with Blaze Matuidi's called OneFC, and it's pretty cool. We've got a couple of hundred kids. The season starts in August, so if you're ever in Miami, you can always come and just join a training session with the boys. I'm sure we can sort that out.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I know. Stop hitting me. What are the ages? How does it work? How's it all set up?
So it goes from under sevens to, it can go all the way up to under 17. I think it can go all the way up to under 19s, but we have it up until our oldest age group is the 2007s. So yeah, the 17-year-olds are our oldest age group. And yeah, we compete in all of the regional competitions in Florida, and we've got a few tournaments a year in other different states. And so yes, we've got about 250 kids. So we've got from under 7s to under 17s, pretty much 2 teams in each age group. And yeah, we kickstart August 19th. So, we've got like 12 or 13 coaches, me, Blaze, and Sylvain Marveau, who used to play for Newcastle a few years ago. He lives out here now, and he's close with Blaze. So I met him through Blaze, and the three of us set it up. So yeah, you have to come down. When you're next here, the season will be up and running, hopefully. So you can come, we go watch a game. It'll be cool.
So the team is OneFC?
Yeah, we're called OneFC, yeah.
And this is brand new. So this is like the first season that you're running?
Yeah.
And you have that many kids already?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we had just, when we announced it, it was obviously, I don't think it's not really been done out here in terms of, how closely we're going to be to the actual academy, especially in Miami, because there's never been a club here. So not many players have lived in Miami or see themselves living in Miami long term for, well, I don't know when. So I think that kind of drew some attention towards it. And then, the first like 2 weeks, we had a lot of registrations for the tryouts, because we had to host a series of tryouts to, build all of the teams. And then, so we saw over 800 kids in like 2.5 months. So that was a hectic time. So it's been a bit of a hectic couple of months trying to get it off the ground and build all of the teams and sort out all of the sponsorship. I need to get it sponsored. So I want to get it sponsored. So if there's anyone, I'll send you a little deck over, because we want to try to raise some money in order to give out scholarships for kids that can't afford to play. Because there's a lot of talent here, but it's expensive to play football. So what we'll do is we'll give like a sponsorship package to companies that any company that wants to be our sponsor. They get their, like a football club, they get all of their badge, their logo on the front of the kits, field naming rights. Me and Blaze will go and do a couple of company events, talks if they want it. And yeah, so if you know any sponsors, Dan, let me know. It will be a cool partnership as well, because we got some cool things in mind. So yeah. Awesome. I should ask Sailor, shouldn't I? Get MicroStrategy.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Miami boy.
I know. and I know him pretty well, but I haven't spoke to him for a while. Maybe this can be the little pitch to him.
Well, yeah, don't bother with him. Just go to the marketing director and speak to them because
Yeah. I'll speak to Eric. I'll speak to Eric.
yeah, there you go.
He's
Right.
the guy.
How does it work then? Like, if a kid wanted to come and try out, like, what is the pricing, and how many times a week are they coming, and how committed do they have to be?
Um, as in to take someone on permanently to OneFC, you mean?
Yeah.
They train 3 times a week, and then games on a weekend. One game on a weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, depending on which age group you are.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Looks like we're moving soon.
Yeah. Well, we'll get over there, mate. You can go have a kick about if you've got any value to add.
Get down for a tryout, and yeah, I mean, we're going to be quite hands on with it. Me, Blaze, and Sylvan will be going to a lot of the games and stuff. I enjoy it, to be honest. It's really the last couple of months, even though it's been hectic to get it started. Like when I go and watch all of the training sessions and the pre-season and stuff, I really enjoy being there. It's like therapy for me, to be honest.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, like, for your own journey, when did that start for you? Like to, fall in love with the game of football?
Honestly, since I can remember. I mean, I see baby pictures of me in albums and stuff. I've always got a ball in my hand. I don't even remember the photos. I'm like 2-3 years old. So ever since, I must have just been fascinated by things that were round, I guess, and that could move, freely. And I think that probably starts from there. And then when your family are all, massive football fans, it's always on the TVs. And then, yeah, my dad loved it, and he was probably, I would say the fact that he loved it, and even my mum loved football, watching games and stuff. You get early memories of when England were playing. I remember the '98 World Cup. I used to love Michael Owen, loved Michael Owen. Like, I couldn't believe it. Even I think because when you were a kid, he just looked so young, so you just felt like he was like one of us, and just like playing at the World Cup and for Liverpool, he was just incredible. Then I started to fall in love with Ronaldo, the old Ronaldo.
The other Ronaldo. He's in love with the other one.
Yeah. No, the phenomenon. Started to fall in love with him, and then it went to Zidane, and then it kind of went to Bergkamp. I was like, wow, this guy is just crazy. I couldn't believe it. And then when I started playing for Wimbledon when I was 11.
So how does that go? Because like, this is what Samuel says to me. It's like, I'll never get scouted playing for like a tiny team in the French rural countryside and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, mate, like, quality will always shine. It doesn't really matter exactly what age you are. But like, how did that process go for you? And looking back on it now, how has that changed over the years?
Well, I mean, for me, I got scouted when I was playing for. So you played for your school. I was playing for my school, and then from my school, I got scouted to play for. You get scouted to play for your borough, and then from your borough, it's your county. And so I think that was kind of the way it went. It goes for inner city boys. I grew up in South London, so that's where Wimbledon came in, because I was a South London boy, and that's the local club. So you have Millwall, Fulham, Crystal Palace, and various other clubs like down in South London at the time, or
Charlton?
Southwest London. Charlton was a big one. Even East London, you get to like West Ham. Yeah, so I got scouted playing. I'm not sure who it was. It would have either been my Sunday league team, Hurley Panthers, or I'd have to ask my mum, or Croydon, which was the borough, or Surrey, which was the county. So I would have been playing for one of them, and then the scouts are at the games, and then they speak to your parents. But I went on multiple trials. I went to Millwall, I went to Charlton, I went to Fulham, and then just decided to pick Wimbledon, probably because it was closest to where my mum lived. And then there was a couple of other friends that I had from schools nearby. And then it's easier for your mum because they can take 2 or 3 kids at the same time, and the parents can take it in turns so that they don't have to do so many, because it's a lot for the parents. It's a lot. So then, yeah, I did Wimbledon from 11 to 14, or maybe 10 to 14. I'm not sure. But I had an amazing time there at Wimbledon. Met, you're at that age where you meet friends and stuff, and you're just enjoying playing football. And then they went into administration. They went bankrupt in 2004, I think it was. And so the club just basically folded almost. And then the Milton Keynes guy came in and bought out Wimbledon and changed them to MK Dons. I don't know if you know MK Dons. So then a lot of the other teams come in and they take all of the players from the academy, because they're just free. They're free kids at that point. And they need to find a team. So we all needed to find a team. And then that's when Arsenal came in, when I was 14. Because we used to play against them a lot. All of the London clubs kind of play against each other more, and all of the northern clubs play against each other more. So where we would just play against them, it was such a big game for us because everyone loved to play. Like, it was our biggest game of the season. We couldn't believe we was playing against like the Arsenal kids at that age. You don't really. That was like the most exciting game. So then we used to always play well against them. We were kind of like their bogey team at that age. So then, yeah, I went with 2 other players from 14 until 16. And then at 16, you either get offered a scholarship to go full time. So you go to the first team training ground. You're at the youth kind of end, and you train there every day, and you get paid £90 a week to train there with the youth team. And then you do education twice a week, like on a Tuesday, Thursday afternoon. And you do that for 2 years. And in that 2 years, you have to work to earn yourself a professional contract. So, yeah. Sorry, I just tried to sum up like 10 years in
yeah, no, it's I've always wondered exactly how it worked, and like the success rate. I mean, you are one of a very low percentage, I would say. What is the kind of, I mean, the churn rate must be huge. One, you've got a hell of a lot of injuries. 2, like you said, it's very difficult on the parents. Sometimes like that family dynamic just breaks down, and there's no way like they can step up to the plate and get the kids to the games and make that commitment. Some of them just drop out, lose interest, not up for it. It's too hard. Don't have the hunger for it. What do you think then makes the difference? How did you find yourself playing for Arsenal in the full team in front of like a packed stadium? Like, why? What did you do different?
I mean, there's so many variables at play. Even probably the greatest, you know, except for your Messi's, Mbappe's, Ronaldo's, and all of that kind of like exceptional bracket. A lot of it comes down to timing, luck, but you do have to have a relentless attitude, like, to the game in order to put yourself into that bracket of like luck and timing. Otherwise, it's the chances, like you say, are so low anyway, that if you miss it through, you know, cutting a corner, then you're never gonna get there, never. So it's a combination of like probably all of those things, I would say. But every player's journey is different, you know. Like, I wasn't a player that when I was 14, after my first, like, because when I went to Arsenal at that age, I felt very inferior, because I came from Wimbledon and I went to Arsenal, and I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm at Arsenal and all the kids have got the same boots. They've all been there since they were like 10 years old. And we kind of came in, me and the other two Wimbledon boys, and it took me a while to adjust. And I was also smaller physically than everyone else. So by the time I got to 16, like, you would have said that I was in the top, the bottom two players of my age group at that time. And then at 16, I barely got a scholarship. It was almost like, you know, you've kind of done enough to get a scholarship, but you need to do a lot more. So then after Liam Brady told me that, then I was like, okay, I need to really, you know, fix up basically, and pull my socks up and get really to work. So then when I had the first pre-season as a scholar, before that I trained like all summer. When my mum would be on holiday, take us on holiday, I was, you know, running and be doing gym and just practicing every day. I can't remember where we were. It was like in the Canary Islands somewhere. So I remember that quite clearly, because I realized that I had a unique opportunity. And so, you know, all of my friends at that time were going uni. They were doing apprenticeships at, you know, their dad's firm and stuff. And then it was like, I had this opportunity. So I was like, yeah, I need to work hard. And then I had a really good pre-season when I came my first year as a scholar. Really, really good pre-season. Physically, I was fitter than everyone else when I came back. And I mean, I was always good technically, but I think physically I really needed to go up a level. So I went up physically a level. And then I kind of just tried to listen closely to what the coaches were saying. And yeah, slowly but surely, I just kind of crept up the table in my age group.
When did you make your debut for Arsenal?
Professional debut?
Yeah.
Professional debut was, I think it was October 2007. I think it was around that time. And it was against Sheffield United away in what we call now the Carabao Cup, but it was called the Carling Cup back then. Yeah.
Who else was on the side?
Who else was on the team?
On the team, yeah. Arsenal team at that stage, 2007.
Oh, Dan, you're testing me here. But to think of a few, Eduardo, because I assisted him in that game. So I remember that clearly.
Assist in your first game.
First game. Wow, I know. Crazy. Bentner, I think Carlos Vela. It was a completely changed. It wasn't our strongest team because it was in the mid. It was, you know, that's what Arsene used to do. He used to give chances to the younger players because he wanted to rest the older players that were playing like every week in the Premier League. So, you know, that's also a huge that also gave me a huge advantage at the time to have a manager that was so like a visionary in that way, in terms of like giving youngsters the opportunity to play.
Was Henri still around at that time? He'd gone.
No. Yeah, he'd gone. Yeah.
Right. Damn. But I'm sure they were there when you were training at the youth end of the pitch. All these guys were training at the other end of the pitch.
First year, you'll have to check the year. Yes, my first year as a scholar, they were all there. They were all there.
Man.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wild.
Right. Football chat done. We're gonna talk.
Wait.
And wait, you got one?
Before I go,
Yeah.
what was your keep-you-uppy record?
Hang on, wait.
Oh,
Didn't you ask me to text Gibbo your latest record?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, maybe you forgot.
No, do you remember this?
I don't remember what the number was, but I remember the message.
Right. So the message came over. Hello, mate. Samuel wanted me to let you know that he's just broken his record. It's 522.
21.
521.
Let's say it was 500. Yeah.
And he said, and he wants to know your record, and you come back with 522.
Have you beaten it yet?
Yeah. Yesterday.
Yeah. I love it.
All right. Cool.
All right. Well, I'm still waiting for the actual response. But
Well, for my total, honestly, I couldn't tell you, but I was obsessed with doing it in my garden when I was a youngster. Probably when I was, how old are you?
13.
Yeah, probably when I was half your age. I would have been in the garden until my mum dragged me in, making sure that I did like over 100 when I was half your age. So
better get out there, mate.
I don't need to. I've done enough.
No. I'll tell you what. Go and practice, but before you do, mow the lawn first, so like you get the real feel for it. You know, like you're on an actual professional football pitch.
Without the crowd.
Without the crowd, yeah, exactly. Although you've forever got the crowd in your mind, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. You've always got that commentator in your mind. Actually, yes. The barbecue, mate. You were very resolute on not joining the kickabout with Safe.
God.
I nutmegged him
Really?
twice.
Oh my God.
He was hell-bent on playing football that day. That was freaking it was so funny.
He loved it. He kept running upstairs and going to get his outfit.
How many times did he get changed?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. Listen, do you know what? I had visions of me like, you know, running down the wing or something and pinging my hamstring and being just like at Sailor's house with an ice pack wrapped around my leg, and I was like, I don't fancy it.
Yeah, I remember you complaining.
Yeah, maybe next time. Maybe when I'm a bit more prepared.
And it was bloody hot.
Yeah, it was so hot.
Yeah.
It was not fun. All right, mate. So now we got to talk about Bitcoin because, you know, glittering football career. You played Arsenal, then West Brom, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then across to Inter Miami.
Yes, exactly.
And was that under Beckham?
I had a loan spell at Norwich.
Norwich.
At the very beginning of my career.
Right. And so, was that under Beckham, the Miami club?
Yeah. I mean, it's still very much David Beckham's club as well. Yeah.
Is he manager as well, though?
David Beckham?
Yeah.
No.
Who manages the club? Who's the coach?
It's a guy called Tata Martino, an Argentinian guy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't play for them anymore.
No, no. I was there for 2 years. I played there for 2 years.
Right. Okay. So then when did Bitcoin creep in?
Bitcoin crept in 2017. Yeah, 2017. When I signed for West Brom.
Huh. Why?
Yeah.
How? What happened?
I signed for West
Rabbit
Brom.
hole story.
Yeah, I signed for West Brom in 2017, and I met a player there called Hal Robson-Kanu, who was a Welsh international. I knew him from the younger age groups of England, so I knew him, you know, semi well. And then when I moved to West Brom, you know, along with a bunch of the other players that I became really good friends with, he was one of them, and he was Hal's a Bitcoin OG. He's a Bitcoin OG, silently. A really bright, a really probably one of the smartest footballers I know and have come across in the game completely. He's just a highly intelligent boy, very aware of like the world that we live in, probably to a deeper level than most people actually, let alone footballers. He's a very interesting guy. I should persuade him to come on here.
All right. Love to have him.
He's an awesome guy. So I became close with him, and then yeah, it was funny because he used to come into the training ground like 2 hours before everyone else in the morning, and he would have his laptop and he would just be, you know, typing away on his laptop doing God knows what. Most players are in the gym getting prepared and stuff, and he did do that as well. He was very professional, like in the gym as well, but he would also make time for his you know, hacking away at his computer. No one really knew what he did, so people used to make fun of him when I first got there. And yeah, I just got close with him. I was curious of what he was up to. And then that's when I got introduced to it. And I was living in Birmingham at the time. I moved to Birmingham, so I didn't really know anyone there. And I was home a lot because it was that my first season there. And so yeah, I just had more free time. You know, than I would do if I was down in London. I had family there. You know, you spend a lot of time seeing family and friends, whereas I was more isolated in Birmingham. So it gave me the time to actually figure out what it was. And then that's when it started.
I'd love to think that he was sitting there shit posting on Twitter on his laptop first thing in the morning.
What?
Shit posting on Twitter is what he was doing.
No, I actually, yeah, he's quite like he's quite a reserved guy in terms of that kind of stuff. Didn't really come out and speak about it. He's quite a private guy as well at the same time. So
what were the resources then that you kind of like found yourself leaning towards?
As in terms like to study it?
Yeah.
He would just send me different things on it. I didn't read like the Bitcoin Standard in 2017. It wasn't like it was just more articles and stuff. I can't even remember where I used to go to look at it. In fact, I didn't read the Bitcoin Standard until like the following year. So like the early stages, it would have been just different links and articles that he would have sent. Yep. And then it kind of just became like, for me, it just became like a real life story of like an actual, like a real thing that's like, wow, this is like going to be like part of history, like in 100 years, where people are going to look in 200, 500 years from now, people are going to really look back at this time as like, this was a defining moment in like human history. So at the time I was like watching like Game of Thrones, for example. And I don't know if you know the show Game of Thrones, but like one of my favorite shows, and it was airing at the time. And I just remember kind of like you know, that was like the fantasy world of like human history. And then you just had like this story in the real world. It was like someone created this thing called Bitcoin, and it ended up just completely, you know, like taking over the world. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. If this actually happens, you know, I want to follow this thing and see what happens with it over the years. And yeah, that was what, 7 years ago now. So to see how it's evolved in that space of time, God knows what the people that were like in 2009, do you know what I mean? Like what they must have seen in that journey. The last 7 years has been fascinating enough. I remember reading things and people saying that, you know, even in 2020, when Saylor was like, companies are going to start to, no, it wasn't Saylor actually. People before that, I was reading blogs and stuff and being sent videos of people saying that companies are going to start to adopt it as treasuries, and you're going to see, you know, what else was there? There was just things that were coming out at the time that I was like, well, that's a bit far-fetched. Have actually happened, and they've happened, and it's just normal, you know. I mean, even the ETF announcements, you know, just like that seemed so far away, didn't it? If you think back to like 2017, that just seemed so far away, and it's just kind of happened now. And now you're like, oh, okay, if this is happening, what's the next 5 to 7 years going to be like? So that's kind of the way I see things in terms of like trying to get a scope on it, because obviously you can get sucked in with the day-to-day of checking the price and stuff, and I don't really see it like that anymore. More like in 2018, 19, I was kind of just like, you know, hooked every day on seeing it, but now I'm kind of a bit more chill with it.
I was going to ask you about those times because, you know, many of the plebs listening, they know what it's like to be the one Bitcoiner in the office, you know, like in their fiat job. You were probably the one Bitcoiner. I think I just lost your video there. I know you're back.
No, I'm back.
Yep. You were probably the one Bitcoiner, or maybe the two, or you might have moved on by then, in a room full of, you know, young lads with expendable cash, with high time preference, spending money on goodness knows what, or being ill-advised on where to spend their money or where to invest their money. And you're the only one with like the eye on the bright orange future. That must have been weird times. And especially, you know, we all know what it's like to be like, you know, annoying guy down the pub. You know, nobody wants to talk to you anymore because all you want to talk about is this magic internet money. And, you know, obviously it's coming from a place of goodwill because you want everybody else around you to understand and see what you've seen and say, like, look, this is how you're going to set yourself up for the future. This is how you protect yourself. But nobody wants to know. And especially people that are getting paid. I mean, mate, tens of £1,000s per week, right? That's the reality of the people that you were, you know, mixing with day in, day out.
Yeah.
What was that like? Like to be around people that had that money without an understanding of what even money is. That must have been a lonely place, you know, for you to be philosophically.
I mean, even though I feel like for me it was, I'd also been that guy that
Sam was just exiting. See
oh,
you,
okay.
mate.
See you, buddy. Yeah, I mean, I still felt part of that group, you know, like it wasn't as though I was like completely saw myself as someone different from now that I'd discovered Bitcoin, even though I think it does change you. I didn't really still see myself as different from the boys. I was still one of the boys. And I kind of just knew that because before I had discovered it, if it had been anyone else other than Hal to have told it to me, I probably would have been like, I probably would have just brushed it off, to be honest. But I think with Hal, he just had a unique way of like, we just got on so well. And I just thought that this guy's actually, he's different, you know, like we would share London trips from London together because we were both London boys. So we would sit in the car for like 2.5 hours after training sometimes to go back down to London. And it's like, we just ended up spending a lot of time together. So I saw him as like, I started to understand that he was a little bit different. Like I could just tell he was highly intelligent. And he's got a, you know, he's got like a, what is he, Nigerian background, I think he is. I know his dad well. His dad's like, you know, a real serious, like intelligent guy. So I knew he was just like well raised, and he had his feet firmly on the ground. And to be honest, I just knew that he wasn't trying to like sell me something. Just knew that he wasn't trying to sell me something, as opposed to a lot of other stuff in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure like when you were at Arsenal, you would have, I mean, like financial advisors or people that are, you know, trying to manage money for you or you know, something like that. And I'm sure there's some horror stories where people, because it's just ripe for the picking. People, you know.
Yeah, easy targets. Yeah. I mean, you've heard stories publicly about it over the years of people getting, you know, scammed and into all different types of stuff. I'm sure I've probably, you know, been a victim of that at some point as well. As well. So you never really know a lot of the time, I think. And for the players, it's, you don't know any different. You know, you don't.
There's no financial literacy training or anything like that. Because like you go from 16, 17, 18, getting your £90 a week to making a debut where if you have a good season, that's the foundation of, man, like money people could only ever dream of, right? And that's with that comes a whole different mindset. And how are kids set up for that? Are they given any kind of training towards that, like what to do with their money, what, you know, if and when it should come, when that windfall happens?
I mean, it's been 37 years since I signed my first pro contract. How long did I say then?
37.
17 years. Sorry,
you
17.
17
yeah,
years.
I don't know. Yeah. 17 years. So it could have changed a lot in that space of time. I'm not sure what it's like now as a 16-year-old. If you sign a scholarship, and all your friends go to uni and you're playing full time in an academy, in the youth team, we would have 2 education afternoons, maybe 3 actually a week. So, but we're not studying finance at that time. No. We're studying, you know, we're doing a BTEC in physio or sports science degree, so that if you don't go pro, you've got some level of education to get yourself a job and stuff. But it wasn't in finance. I mean, even if you go to uni, like, and you study media and communications, like, you actually studying how to look after your money.
No, mate. And in fact, if you go to uni, you get brainwashed with the other side of things. You know, it's just straight up Keynesian economics, and yeah, inflation is good.
A hefty bill.
So how do we? I guess. I mean, we spoke about this a little bit at the end of Safe's pod. How do we, as Bitcoiners who understand, you know, what the difference it's going to make for people, like this could completely change. Like you said, it changes people's mindset. It's probably going to change the way somebody would even approach the game, how they would approach training, because, you know, you lower your time preference. And I remember having Lucky Mukasana on the show. He was the striker for Tampa Bay Rowdies, and he played at New York Cosmos with Raul. And he found Bitcoin. And as soon as he found Bitcoin and it started changing the way he played, the way he trained. And even so he would be more economical with the runs he would make, and just things like that, just these subtle changes that, and he attributed that to lowering his time preference, which was a direct result of, saving in sound money. And
Yes,
I would love to be able to get people like him, yourself, George Manlov, who's doing the work now with the team in Bulgaria, getting in the changing rooms and having these conversations openly with some of the lads, and what Peter's doing with Real Bedford as well. It seems to me as though football right now is becoming ripe. We got Coach Carbon in the UK that was trying to bring a team out for the TST, the soccer tournament. Couldn't raise the money, mate, unfortunately. So that will have to wait. Hopefully next year. We're just one pump away, and
nice.
many people will be set free. So have you had any ideas about that, especially with OneFC now, your own academy? You're going to be mentoring young lads, and this is obviously going to be a huge way in which you can set them up for the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that's crossed my mind even when I was setting it up. I mean, when I say it's crossed my mind, it's crossed my mind in a dream world, because you're not saying that it's something that I wouldn't try to aim to do, but just in the terms of, you have to be very careful still with how you go about these things, because people, and rightly so, they want to protect themselves, and so that you got to be careful how you tell someone about something that is still it's very new. It's only 15 years, what is it, in existence, 16, and you don't want to scare people away. You don't want to you just have to be careful about how you go across these things. It's not like I'm no professor. I'm not a computer scientist. I'm not, I didn't go to uni. People that I'm definitely not someone that should be giving advice to people, because you have to check the legal documents as well on that kind of stuff. But yeah, like you say, it's an interesting question of how you manage to kind of get the message across. I think that's probably why I announced in 2021, when I signed for Miami, that I was going to take 50% salary in Bitcoin through my wages at Inter Miami via the ex-BTO sponsors who I met when I first moved out here, which is actually how I ended up meeting Safe and all of you guys, really, because it was the first kind of announcement. It was an announcement that I'd made publicly, and I'm happy I did that, because it ended up it meant that I met a lot of people, because people started to message me. Safe messaged me, Balaji messaged me, Pomp messaged me. I didn't know any. Sorry, I knew all of these people, but when they were messaging me, I was like, wow, these are people that I'd followed for years. Safe, I'd followed for years. Pomp, I knew about Balaji, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. I have all of these super elite people messaging me, and obviously Safe's a big football fan, so we connected well on that. And yeah, I just got to meet a bunch of interesting people at the very least of it. But if there was any more to come from that, it was to just let people know that this was what I was doing, and it's a personal decision that I'd made. And if that meant that it raised awareness and people would even just research it for an hour and discover something, and see it kind of the same way that we see it, then that made me satisfied, because I felt that was probably the main reason why I announced that, was to just try to let people know without letting people know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, mate. Yeah, I remember the tweet as well, and it's like, whoa, like, this is amazing. And yeah, more and more people have followed.
Yeah. When I moved here, I realized that, I just kind of moved. It was the first time I moved to another country and stuff. And I used to just, first few months I moved here, you just kind of, you see the world you see the world as a big place, and a way that you can connect with people from all different regions of the world. And then I realized, that I do have a platform, and I can, try to help people in a way. And this was the biggest way that I felt that I could help people, help someone, because, we all have different ways that we think that we can try and help people. But in my opinion, the best way to help a lot of the social economic problems in the world is speaking about something like this.
Well, if there's an exchange out there that's interested in sponsoring you guys, you're open to sponsors, right? Like you said at the beginning here. So that would be an incredible way to get for the young lads, if they're all of a sudden, every time they put on a shirt, there's a little Bitcoin B on there. It's another little touch point, right? It might send them down the rabbit hole themselves. It'd be incredible if you could get some kind of Bitcoin sponsor for what you're trying to achieve.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I mean, the thing is, it's even if it's a company that is heavily involved in Bitcoin, right? It's not so much so that it has to just be, I don't want. It's not to say that I want to have Bitcoin splashed all over my academy, but as long as there's an affiliation of some sort, that would be the icing on the cake for me.
What kind of sponsorship money are we talking about here? Like, how crazy is it?
Well, we're basically, so we announced like 2 months ago that we was going to offer a scholarship program for 3 teams in the academy. So at the moment, that just comes out of the academy's pocket. So essentially mine, Lay's, and Sylvan's, which we're happy with. So even if we don't have a sponsor, like, it's happening anyway, which I think is an important thing to mention. And then to fund 3 teams is 150. It's around about $150,000 a year, which funds every player and a coach for a whole year. So yeah, we kind of, with that, you get obviously a name all over the academy, and we're a close partner to our sponsors. That's how we would see it, as amongst various other things that we're offering to the sponsors.
Well, let's hope the right people listen, mate. If I can think of anybody, then I'll put you in direct touch. And you never know. Somebody out there is the right fit, and it'd be great for that company to raise their awareness and to also work with you guys in tandem as to what's the best way to disseminate that education amongst the youngsters, and work with them and help them understand money and the history of money and how important it is for them to protect their futures, because one twisted ankle or one bad challenge and the game could be completely over for you. You might have earned well for a couple of years, but that's it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also, the scholarship program itself is designed to help families and kids that out here can't afford to play, which I think is, probably the biggest reason why we're trying to raise some sponsorship money in the first place. Anyway, it's not that cheap to play football out here, and we see football as a global game. Like, if I lived in America, I wouldn't have been able to play football probably, because my parents definitely wouldn't have been able to afford it. And so you have so much talent here, but how much of that talent pool is able to be seen, because you have to pay to play football out here, and it's not cheap. So if we can change that model a little bit, and help the kids that can't play as much, then that's the reason why we're doing it. So we're quite passionate about that.
All right, mate, we're going to wrap this up, but we can't wrap it up without talking about the Euros, that are currently occurring. England, you have 10 caps, I believe, played for England.
Yep.
What's that experience like? You got to tell us what it's like to represent your national side.
Oh, I mean, how to put it into words is, I'm no wordsmith, but it's it's just such a proud feeling. It's just such a proud feeling. I mean, you watch your nation play since you're a kid. It's probably one of the big things that change your love for football even more, is when you watch your country play, and then like I said earlier, it's the 98 World Cup. I remember watching that and just being mesmerized. And so to actually get there and do that is a pretty special feeling.
So what's going on right now with with England? And it's one of these things, right? You look on paper, you're like, right, well, what are you talking about, guys? Like, they won their group, they got 5 points, they've sailed it. You're like, they've won their group with 1 goal. Like, this is madness. Like, 1 goal in 3 games. Like, some will say, well, this is the way Germany and Italy used to win their championships.
I was just going to say, I mean, at this stage of a tournament, of course, we want to see our country playing well and everyone talking about us, in a positive way. Football doesn't happen like that all the time, especially at international level. The job is being done, whether we whatever you want to say about it. Feel like there's been enough criticism of the boys. I'm not going to be one of those at this point to go and jump on that wagon, because I'm still a fan of I'm a fan of a lot of these boys. I'm a fan of a lot of the boys, so I just want to see them do well. And I think that the chances, with the talent there, the chances of us continuing on this run are lower than the boys actually just turning it on. Obviously, for what a lot of people are saying about that there needs to be changes made and stuff like that. Like, we still have to trust the manager at the same time, because he's pretty much changed the influence he's had on those boys over the last few years. People are quick to forget. Definitely changed the perception of not just the team in the sense of an England team that's going to go and win something, but also just he brought back the love, I felt like, in the last few years, from the connection of the players to the fans. So I don't want to say anything. I don't want to give him anything but credit, and just hope that the boys turn it on in the next few games, or in the next game.
Yep, exactly, mate.
That's going to be my take on it. Unfortunately, you're not going to get any any headlines, any headline stories. They have more than enough at the
Oh,
moment.
mate, it's endless, right? And that's the thing with the media. They just stir it all up. And then when you look at, Southgate's record in the championships, right? And where it really matters. No, I don't think anyone can hold. I mean, we've always got through the groups, right? Number one under him, and always gone on to at least challenge quarters or semis. Um, and that is not that had all been lost. At least he's brought that back, and so
Yes.
we'll see. We will see, mate. But we would love to see a bit more flair on the pitch out there, and I think that's just at the moment. Like bringing someone like Gordon on for like a minute last night. It's like, why? Why wasn't he on for 10 minutes? Because when he came on, he changed the game. And Palmer, same thing. So, but you've got to bring these players in very, 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 very slowly and let them find their feet. And I've never managed a national football side, so nor have you. You've played for them, but you've never managed one.
Exactly.
All right, mate. If you had one last orange pill left to give to somebody, who would you give it to and why?
I'm trying to think of someone. I'm trying to think of someone extremely powerful in the world, that holds an embarrassment of power, and I'm just trying to decide between like 5 of them. So you know, the next president of the United States, probably, whoever that will be, which we'll find out in a few months. And if not, if it was anyone else, it would be another superpowers leader, whether it's Putin or Xi. I don't know.
Go for the big ones, mate. Go for the moonshots.
Yeah. Why not?
Right, mate. It's been great to get you on. Long overdue. And yeah, it was, like I said at the beginning of the show, great fun to hang out in Miami and meet in person. It was a great surprise. And along with all the other people that we got to meet when we were over there. What are the chances we see you at a European-based conference anytime soon, or any plans?
I mean, the Prague one looked pretty cool. Eric
That
was
was
telling me
ace.
about that. So maybe I'll check that one out. If there's one next year, I don't know.
There
But
is. Yep. June
yeah,
2025, 20th, around that
okay.
date.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's just more time for me. I would go to all of them if I could,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been to every one. Since I lived here. I went to every Miami one. Um, which has moved now to Nashville, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's just time to get out to Europe, with the filming and stuff and the academy. But I'll definitely get to one. I'll definitely get to
Filming.
one.
What's that? We didn't discuss any filming. What's that for?
Filming, I do, just I do some filming with Miami now, so I'm still contracted to the club. I film the weekly show that goes on Apple TV, talking about all of the Inter Miami games,
Right.
which is great. I get to sit and watch and talk about Messi every week as well, which is fun, because he's still enjoying himself out here and playing well.
Have you ever
Um,
presented at one of the conferences, or do you just go and like hang with the plebs and just watch the talks and?
yeah, no, I just go and hang out. To be honest, I've never spoke at one. I would be happy to. I guess it's just maybe try and speak to someone, but I'll definitely be open to. I was supposed to go. Peter invited me to London. I don't know if it was earlier this year or
Yeah,
I think it
cheat
was
code
earlier.
was in April.
Yes, I just couldn't make it out, unfortunately. But yeah, I've been invited to his ones.
Cool, mate. All right. Well, I'll put you in touch perhaps with the Proud Boys because I'm sure they'd be interested in chatting with you. And if it's enough time ahead.
I mean, the thing is with those things as well, though, it's like the insane intelligence of all of those people. I just like to go and sit and learn from it.
Mate, believe me, people can learn a lot from you and your career and talking about football, and you got a lot to offer. Don't let imposter syndrome creep in now, Gibbo.
Yeah.
You've overcome that many times in your professional career. To let that worry you now, but I mate, especially over here in Europe, I think you'd make a big impact if you were to announce and come do like a 20-25 minute talk about what you're trying to achieve now with OneFC, and you'll have a year's kind of data behind you, and you might even change the name to 21FC. I mean, who knows?
Oh, I love it. We'll have to. I'm gonna put that in my notes now.
Yeah, you'll have to ask Blaze for permission.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, that's the way to get. I tell you what, if we can attract a Bitcoin sponsor for you, then you're going to have to seriously consider changing it to 21FC.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, we can definitely put that in. Maybe if we lock in a long-term contract, then I'll have to run it by the boys.
Yeah.
But I like the idea.
We got a deal. All right, mate. Well, I'll let you go. Thanks for giving up the time. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for everything you're doing to raise awareness about Bitcoin in your own way. And I look forward to chatting again soon.
Always a pleasure, Dan.
Thanks
for having me.
You're welcome.
Take care, man.